Hi, I'm back again with another 10 questions on program lifecycle domain. If you have not seen our previous questions, follow the playlist. You can find the link in the description. Also, you can follow it directly on the YouTube. In this video, we are starting with question number 71. You can choose to pause the videos in between if you want to read and answer yourself before you hear my explanation, but I am not stopping because it unnecessarily creates a longer duration videos. So let's get started and look at a question number 71. So your program has successfully achieved its objective and delivered the intended benefits. The program experienced notable success as well as several challenges during its life cycle. As usual, as the program manager, you are now proceeding to close the program and compiling lesson learned. Which approach is the most effective for gathering comprehensive feedback and capturing lesson learned? Okay, so this is something we are exploring, that how to do a good lesson learned meeting and how do we capture them. Option A, set up a discussion forum in the program management information system where stakeholders can share their experience. Not a bad idea, but such kind of questions, whenever you have an interaction, you can keep thinking about push-pull interactive and you can decide which one is better. That concept is as relevant for PMP and PgMP similarly, or any communication technique. So though it's a good idea where we can create a place where people can post their ideas, but there is a possibility people may not bother to do it and it is not very interactive in nature. Let's see option B. Conduct a program closing survey using tool like Google Form or SurveyMonkey to collect feedbacks from stakeholders. Not a bad idea. You can definitely do that. You can have a discussion forum. You can have a survey forum. Now both of them look similar. So I'm sure if we have a two candidate looking right option, then probably we have a better option coming in the other remaining two. Let's see option C. Assign your program team to meet the stakeholders one-on-one to gather detailed feedback. So this one is taking care of interactive communication. That's there. But you are delegating it to a program team. The question is basically for the program manager. So let's see if the option D can give me something which I can do rather than delegating it. Option D, conduct a post-review meeting by presenting the program performance report to obtain feedback and capture lesson learned. Looks good. Yeah, it looks good because it is involving me as a program manager. It is involving the stakeholders. It is giving interactive communication, and that way I can find it is easy to choose option D. Now there is a little trick also. If you are already familiar with the PgMP ECO, then you find this statement pretty familiar. Yeah, because this statement is exactly coming from task number 34. So task 34 tells conduct the post review meeting in a program lifecycle by presenting the program performance report to obtain feedback and capture lesson learned. So say sometime when you know the PgMP exam content outline, it is easier to find the answers, but you can find the answer without knowing this as well, because it's obvious looking at the other option. This option is more comprehensive, more interactive in nature. Question number 72. You have conducted a program closure meeting and compiled a detailed report of lesson learned and best practices from the program lifecycle. As the program manager, what is the most appropriate next step to ensure these insights are effectively utilized and contribute to the organizational improvement? So we understand as a project professionals, as a program professionals, that we need to enrich our organization process assets. The knowledge, the experiences which we got should be utilized in the upcoming program. The lesson learned are not only limited to program closure. You can have lesson learned interaction during the program as well. Important thing we need to keep in mind. But this particular question is basically focusing on lesson learned compiled during the closure, which is expected to be used by the organization to educate and should be expected to be used by upcoming programs. So let's see the option. How should I support that? How should I put this information so that it is usable, accessible for my future professionals? Option A, conduct an all-hand meetings to share the lesson learned report with your immediate team and discuss the outcomes. Now you may think, oh, meeting is a good idea because it's an interactive communication. Yes, it is. But it is a lesson learned which you are doing in a closing stage. It is not something which is happening during the program. So having a meeting with the team members and explaining them a lesson learned, they are not going to do another program management in the organization. So that way it is little suspicious. Let's see option B. Archive the lesson learned and best practices in the organization knowledge repository and ensure relevant stakeholders are informed of its availability. Looks like a little documentation thing, but not a bad idea. In fact, it's a good idea. So we know that lesson learns, the registers becomes repository. The organization should have a process where they maintain these kind of archivals. So any program which is expected to be coming in the future or ongoing one, they can check the details and utilize it. So this looks good. I should be archiving the lesson learned for the future references. Option C, present the lesson learned to the program sponsor and steering committee members for their review and acknowledgement. Not a bad idea, but at the same time, these are not the user of your lesson learns. We can definitely talk about our lesson learned in our program closer meeting when we are taking closer, when we are showing the performance of the program. We can share those things before we take an approval for the overall closer. Yes, we can do that. But it is not the purpose is not to make the lesson learned available for the future use. That was the question. So that way option C doesn't make sense here. Option D, distribute the lesson learned report to the program manager so they can avoid repeating similar mistake in their future projects. So in personal view, I believe the B and D are little bit candidate option. So I need to share this lesson learned with the program manager so they don't repeat this mistake again. Yes. But it is not like I just send an email or share it to all the program manager of my organization. I need to put it appropriately and my stakeholders should know and they should be able to find it out. There is a possibility other than other program manager is also interested in that. Someone who is involved in executing, strategizing and facilitating program execution should be able to see it. So that way option B looks perfectly good and I can choose option B for this particular question. Now, similarly, like a question number 71, if you know the exam content outline of PgMP, you should see this statement very familiar. Yeah, find this statement very familiar because we do have a task number 35, which tells report lesson learned and best practices observed and archive to the knowledge repository to support future programs and organizational improvement. So that way, these kind of tasks show up in your exam and without memorizing these tasks, if you get the right mindset, it's easy to find out the option just by comparing the other option in the exam. Question number 73. Which of the following set of activities best aligned with the objective of program information archiving and transition? So say information archiving and transitioning is a program closer activity. If you follow your program management standard, you can go to the supporting activity. And if you have a familiarity with it, this answer becomes very easy for you. Even if you don't remember those activities, you can definitely use your general program execution experience, and with the help of elimination you can find the right answer in that case also. So let's figure it out. What is the right answer? Option A, archive program records. Good idea. Provide training. Knowledge transfer is a part of it, so in a way I can say training is relevant but may not be the all thing. Other ways of knowledge transfer should also be included. Identify new program opportunities. So what the identification of a new program opportunity has to do with the program information archiving and transitioning looks little odd, and probably that's the reason I have added that to make this option looks odd. Yeah, go to option B. Compile and structure archives. Yeah, the archive should be structured. Yes. Facilitate knowledge transfer. Good idea. And finalize lesson learned. Good idea. So I would say that knowledge transfer, lesson learns are good idea. I will definitely do. Compile and structural archive. I will have a structured archive, but it's a candidate option. Let's see if we get something better. Option C, consolidate lesson learned, matching with option B, good idea. Archive program records, which was missing in the option B, but here it is coming, great. And facilitate the transfer of knowledge. Definitely C is better than B. Yeah, let's go for option D. Conduct team interview. what we have to do with the team interview when we are archiving. Achieve archive program related records. Yes, yeah. Consolidate, archive, good idea. And ensure all data is exclusively available to the program management office. Why only program management office? There could be other people as well. So even if I don't remember the activities or things done under the program information archival and transitioning, I can choose it based on my understanding of what we have to do when we are doing program closer as a part of program information archival and transitioning. So option C is the answer for this question. This question is mapped to task number 35, report lesson learned and best practices observed and archive the information. So that same task which we were discussing in a previous question is also coming here. Question number 74. You are preparing the agenda for a program closure review meeting with the key stakeholders. The meeting aimed to formally close the program, review its outcome, and capture valuable insights. Which of the following items should be prioritized for inclusion to ensure a comprehensive and meaningful discussion? So in a simple word, what I am learning from this question is what should be discussed in the program closure meeting, yeah, and what should be the agenda of a program closure meeting. That's what we are thinking of. And let's find out the options. Yeah, that's the idea. Okay, option A, review the program objective and benefits realization against the original plan. Looks good. Yeah. Identification of key success and areas of improvement. Yeah, lesson learned. Yes, you can do that. And gather stakeholders' feedback. Yeah, you can do that as a part of a program closer. Looks good. Yeah, let's see. Option B, a deep dive into financial reports. Why deep dive? We can have a review at a closer. We don't want to do an analysis here. So little suspicious. Followed by discussion on ongoing operational handover activities. Yeah, transitioning activities can be discussed here. We can have a brief discussion about the transitioning and the training and other things we are doing. And a new program opportunities. New program opportunity is not a discussion point for a closer. That's a separate topic. Option B I can avoid. Option C, a presentation highlighting the major escalation encountered during the program and brainstorming session to ideate future projects. So even the first part was talking about lesson learned because it's a major escalations. We can talk about success and failures there, but why limit to only escalations? We can talk about successes as well. And brainstorming about next future project is anyway makes the option C irrelevant. So option B and C are easy to be avoided because it has a statement pointing to you need to discuss about what next. Yeah, what next is a separate problem. It's not a program closer problem. Option D, detailed discussion about each project component technical implementation followed by operational transitional updates. So I like the operational transitional update, but I don't like the talking about the technical discussion of the project components or the project deliverables. So looking at this, we can come back to option A, which was looking like a textbook kind of thing where I can clearly see that, yeah, these are the things should be there in the closer event where we are doing reviewing and closing our program. So option A looks good for question number 74. So this one is mapped to task number 34. Conduct the post review meeting by presenting the program performance report and obtaining the feedback and capture the lesson learned. So question number 75. Which of the following activities does not belong to the program closer phase? So you can check in your program management standard and see the activities associated and supporting activities associated with program closer, and that will give you easy to answer such kind of question. It's an important thing. Closer can give you a good number of questions and relatively the content is less, so it's a good idea to have a little feeling about those activities. So let's see which one is not belonging. Yeah, that's the only thing. Usually I can find the answer by just elimination as well, rather than thinking and memorizing those activities. I know many people just memorize the program activities and supporting activities, and they pass PgMP exam based on that memorization. That happens, yeah. And I also know many professionals who don't like memorizing anything, and they still pass PgMP exam. So both processes can help you in achieving your goal. You choose which one is your style. Coming back, so we need to find out which one is not a part of a closer activity. Archiving program documentation and lesson learned in a structured repository for future reference. Definitely I want to do as a part of a closer. If you heard on project management, program management, you know lesson learned archiving is a part of closer. Option B, finalize all financial transaction, including returning unspent fund and confirming sustainment budget for ongoing benefits realization. Now, some of you may think these are not part of closure. They are part of closure. Yeah, that's the only thing which I think can look little confusing. So you need to conclude the financial transaction. You need to make sure that money which is not spent is returned back, and you need to prepare a plan and a sustainment budget proposing for the ongoing benefits realization there. So it's a part of your closure activity. Option C, facilitate the transition of remaining program risk to organization risk register. Some of you may think this is not a part of closure. It is. Yeah, there is a possibility of a risk on a benefit sustainment because program is closing. We need to do a transitioning of the risk also, which can happen into a program risk register. To me, as of now, all three looks good. Let's see what we need to find out the one which does not look good as a closure activity. Option D, validate deliverable completed by projects to confirm alignment with the program objective. You probably can do that. Yeah, that's a possible thing you can do as a part of program closure, possible thing. But you should have done this before. Yeah, it is not the time to talk about deliverable in our PgMP exam, in our program management lifecycle. We want to do it as a part of a program delivery phase. So as things are coming, as the components are getting closed, yeah, components closure is not waiting till the program closure. Yeah, we are expected to close our components as things gets done. Yeah, so out of the four available, this seems to be not an activity which belong to program closure phase. Now, if you follow the activities as per your program management standard, then also you will find the same answer. So this question can be mapped to task number 33, which is focusing on closing the program, transition and close out of the program and all constituent projects and components, and it talks about all lesson learned and other stuffs. Question number 76. You are completing the program closure activity for a recently concluded program. Which of the following set of deliverables are you most likely to produce as a part of program closure phase? Yeah. So same like the previous question, can be handled with the help of your supporting activity understanding from a program management standard. And it is just asking what kind of things you produce, what kind of artifacts you produce when you finish as a part of a program closure. So contract closure reports can be there. Lesson learned can be there. Financial closing statement can be there. Certificate of projects closure can be there. Yeah, but it can happen in a delivery phase because project. Yeah, update of project archives can happen in a delivery phase rather than waiting to a closure. Lesson learned definitely there. Program closure report looks good. Appreciation for the program manager can happen. Yeah, that's there. Contract completion certificates can be there. Contract completion certificate for our vendors, even for our clients, both way it can come. Yeah. The only thing is appreciation for a program manager, not necessarily a closing activity. You can appreciate the program manager whenever it is happening. You don't have to wait for a closure. Option D, final performance review report, yes. Program archives, yes. Performance assessment of the program manager. Again, so C and D can be avoided because they are talking about appreciating, assessing the program manager during the program closure. Now, in many companies, that's also a kind of a practice where you also have a review of a program manager as a part of a program closure. Yeah, but for our activities and other purpose, the review and motivation and assessment of projects and program managers are a continuous activity. They are not expected to wait till end. So we left with A and B only. C and D are easy to avoid, and we know that B has a word project. So whenever closure of program is getting used, and you see some component level closure happening, you become little suspicious because component closure can happen. There is a possibility some components may close as a part of program only. Yeah? But the idea is we can't say all components will be waiting till the program closure. So that way we can easily choose the option A in this particular case. Yeah. So this one is also mapped to task 33. As we discussed, it is all about closing the program and its constituent components. Question number 77. You are initiating a project within your program to improve supply chain efficiency. The project was included in the program's business case and charter. During the project initiation, you want to ensure that stakeholders are aligned on the project scope, responsibility, and high-level timelines. What step would you take to ensure this alignment? Yeah. So this is about component initiation, component authorization. You are in a program delivery phase and you have approved business case as a part of a program. Yeah, the question is not talking about project specific business case, but the question is saying that you need to come up with something which gives a stakeholder alignment on project scope, responsibility, and high level timeline. So what is thing which you can do which can help it for this purpose? Let's see. Option A, ensure that project business case is prepared and approved by the steering committee to validate alignment with program goals. Not a bad idea. You should be doing, and you should be ensuring the project's business case is prepared and approved by the steering committee to validate alignment with the program goal. So I don't see any problem in this particular option. This is a good option. You should follow. The only thing is this option is relevant to our question? Yeah. So it is saying that you want to ensure that stakeholders are aligned on project scopes, responsibility, and high level timelines. Yeah, that is the question. Business case ensures alignment, but not necessarily ensures project scope, responsibility, and high level timelines. Yeah. So though the statement A is good. Statement B, issue the project vision based on program charter and business case to guide stakeholders. You can definitely create a vision statement which will bring the alignment. Yeah. But vision statement usually may not contain the details of scope, responsibilities. That's the one thing. And not to limit your review, your exploration based on what was discussed in a program charter or a program level business case which you have. Yeah. So that way it has a little weakness. So let's see. B has a little weakness. Option A is good as a statement, but not necessarily relevant for our question. Option C. So A is good statement, not relevant. B has a weakness. Option C, assign the project manager to draft the project charter and share it with the stakeholders for the feedback and alignment. Good idea in way. So I like the word project charter. That's a good, because project charter is expected to have a high level scope, responsibility, and high level timeline. So that way I like it. Only that, do I need to make a project manager to draft it and share it with the stakeholder for feedback and alignment? That's little, the governance may become little suspicious about it. Let's see. Option D, develop the project charter, gain approval from the steering committee, and use it as a primary tool for aligned stakeholder. That looks like without any doubt I can handle it. So option A and D are true statements. I would say that they are relevant true statement as far as the context of the PgMP exam is concerned. And I see the option D is basically focusing on the context which is more aligned with the question. So here we can see that this particular thing maps to task 16 in your program lifecycle, where we talk about charter and initiate constituent project component by assigning project manager and allocating appropriate resources and to achieve the program objective. So you need to charter as per the governance framework. There is a possibility sometime program manager can also authorize the charter, but we should do as per our governance framework. In the exam, better I involve steering committee for taking an approval on a project charter as well. It's a good idea whenever possible. Question number 78. One of the projects within your program has been chartered, but you are facing difficulties assigning sufficient resources due to organizational constraints. Okay. So charter is there, but resources are not available. We don't know how many resources are not available, but they are not available. As the program manager, how would you resolve this issue while ensuring the project initiations stay on track? So it looks like the initiation itself is getting limited by not having appropriate resources for this particular project, though the charter has been issued by the governance group steering committee. What should you do as a program manager? Yeah. So again, I am in a delivery phase. I'm interacting as a program manager for the issue related to the component initiation and authorization. So option A, delay the initiation of the project until the required resources are available. Prioritize quality over timelines. I do want to prioritize quality and timelines, and I can't just jump on saying let's delay it. There is a possibility that the delay may happen, but usually I don't conclude that it will be delay is the only option. Yeah, so I just keep it aside. Option B, revisit the resource requirement with the project manager Yeah, I can do that. And stakeholders to explore resource optimization or adjust to the project scope. Yeah. So the option B is more exploratory in nature. It is saying, let's talk to the project manager and stakeholder to find out what should we do about this situation. Looks good to me. Let's see. Option C, escalate the issue to the steering committee and request additional funding to hire external resources for the project. Escalation to a steering committee can be a possibility if it is a part of my governance process. It's a possibility. But the second part of the question is very unlikely. I can conclude at this stage where I'm saying I need more money for external resources. Maybe we need to figure it out. My goal as a program manager is optimization resource inside my program. So I need to figure it out first before I can just conclude I need people from outside. Yeah, so that way it's little negative. Option D, proceed with the initiation of the project by redistributing resources from other ongoing projects, even if it delays their progress. I can do that. Yeah. So say option D and B are looking, even A is also feasible there. C is little more less likely to happen. But I would say that all these options can be combined together in option B, because option B is saying revisit the resource requirement with the project manager and stakeholders to explore resource optimization or adjust to the project scope. So we are looking for utilization and overall alignment and the adjustment to a project scope, which may result into bringing people from outside, which may result into changing the scope, which may result into probably delaying the project also. But looking at a revisit is a good idea. Let's revisit the situation so that we understand the situation better. So that way we can go with option B in this particular situation. So revisit, and the option B is the right answer here. Yeah, option B. So this one is also mapped to task number 16, charter and initiate program component. That's the task. Question number 79. Stakeholders have expressed the need for a detailed description of deliverables, expected benefits, and scenarios for a program aimed at modernization and scenarios for a program aimed at modernization and organization's IT infrastructure. Which of the following document is expected to provide this information? Straightforward question, which is saying out of these documents, which document has a list of deliverable, expected benefits, and usage scenario, usage pattern, that details. Yeah. So detailed description of the deliverables. So definitely it's not a program charter. It's not having detailed description of the deliverable. It may have high level deliverable identified. Expected benefits are expected to be there, but not scenarios and all those detailed. Program scope statement seems to be the right to a good candidate. Work breakdown structure is more about decomposition. It's more about ensuring that we have a view and we are not missing anything, and clarifying accountability to various units and making the work divisible. That's the idea. So it's a more like a management tool of our scope rather than it can be used to visualize the scope as well, but from a stakeholder perspective, it may be too complicated. So the whole question is talking about list of the deliverable and scenarios, which will be there in the scope statement more than the WBS. It's a hierarchical diagram by default. You may think that WBS may have a WBS dictionary also, but that's not set. They are asking for a one artifact. Business case, it's primarily made for justification, not necessarily talks about deliverable. Just has the business case definitely has a benefits identified, yeah, but more purpose of a business case is justification of the program. So such kind of questions should be easy, and you will get those around the key documents of your program should be on your tips, like your roadmap, like your work breakdown structure, business case, benefits register, benefits management plan, charter, program charter, some little bit on project charter, those kind of program management plan, when to use communication plan, when to use what to do with about it, stakeholder engagement plan. So some list of these artifacts and their uses will help you in getting some of the questions in your exam right. So this question can be mapped to task 7, which talks about develop a detailed program scope statement by incorporating the program vision and all internal external objective goals, influences, variables for overall planning. Question number 80, the final question for this video. While defining the program scope statement for a program, aimed at implementing an organization-wide digital transformation, you encounter conflicting priorities among stakeholders. How would you balance these priorities to ensure alignment with the program objectives and stakeholder satisfaction? So at a program level, you are expected to have complex group of stakeholders, far more complex than project level stakeholders. And there is more likelihood of having these kind of situations where priorities are conflicting. So that seems to be the case. What do you do? Yeah. Option A, make a prioritization based decision based on your understanding of the program charter to ensure alignment with the high level goals. So say you as a program manager definitely understand the program charter well, you definitely have prepared the business case, you might have prepared the charter which is approved by steering committee, you have a fair understanding. But saying that I will decide what is right and what is prioritized based on my understanding of a charter and business case, not a good idea. Though in a PgMP exam, we assume that you are the one who are preparing these artifacts, but we cannot assume that you really understand the domain better than your stakeholders. Your stakeholders may have a more insight about the type of problem they are facing and the way they want to solve that problem. So I need to understand their perspective rather than I will say, I understand what is right as per my charter. You don't go with that. Option B, use advanced facilitation technique to ensure collaboration while creating the program scope. Looks a fair, good idea. We will be doing meeting management, brainstorming, product box exercise, whatever can help us in bringing the ideas, prioritizing the ideas, using dot voting. So a good idea. Yeah, let's see. Option C, involve fewer people in the scope preparation process to minimize conflict and achieve faster turnaround. So you can have a focused group, which may be a good idea, but not for the idea of that we will have a less conflict. So this thing, say you may choose this way of creating scope. Yeah, that's a possibility. This could be a possible way of scope creation, where you have a specialist group of people who are more knowledgeable and they can discuss and conclude it. But the question is not talking about how should you approach a scope. The question is talking about how do you take care of this issue which is right now in front of you, which is not having the right understanding of the priorities. Yeah. So C could be the approach you take for your scoping, but not the relevant in this particular question. Option D, ask stakeholders to base their priorities on fact and provide justification for their requests. Possible. I'm saying that, yes, guys, you need to bring some data rather than you saying this is a good or this is a bad. Yes, but that I can do as a part of B. I may want to listen to my people. I want to have a better relationship as a stakeholders. And I can definitely make a ground rule about how to communicate here. But that all and maybe other than that can be included in option B. Yeah, option B is more open than only focusing on bring the facts together, then only we can have a justification and conversation about it. So that way it is not risky to choose option B as a right option in this particular case. Now, this particular question is also mapping to the preparation of detailed program scope statement, yeah, and facilitating the overall planning. So that's the task which we are covering here. So these were our 10 questions. Yeah, you probably got some ideas related to your PgMP exam. If you need specific assistance for your PgMP exam preparation, connect with us. We do have a customized mentoring programs, application support program to make your PgMP journey faster.